Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Worthy, Worth It, and Priceless. I have the absolute honor of interviewing Michael Keith, not only of the Grammy Award-winning group 112, but he is also a philanthropist, an entrepreneur, and among every other thing in the world. And today we will be speaking about mental health issues as well as relationship questions as well. Okay, so once again, thank you so much for doing the interview with me and everything. Um, so we can just get started.
All right. Thank you for having me. Let's
You're
do
welcome.
it.
So, mental health in men is often stigmatized. Have you ever struggled with feeling like you couldn't speak up about your challenges, and how did you navigate that?
Have I ever felt? Yeah, I've struggled a lot, just being a black man in America. You're gonna face struggles. And I know a lot of people would look at that as being like the cliche thing to say, but it's very pertinent in today's society. Like we do feel as
Mhm,
black men, and I can speak for a lot of us, that
mhm,
we do feel like we're the odd man out, that we're behind the eight ball, if you will.
mhm,
And and it doesn't matter about your success. I mean, here I am, as successful as I've been over the last 30 years and still struggle with the stigma that, it doesn't matter if you have a MDA or a MD or PhD, or, it don't matter when some people look at you and they see criminal, they see
mhm,
uh, violent. They see, they see anger. They see all of these things that are a part of us, but not the totality of who we are. So yeah, it's definitely a struggle.
mhm,
How I'm able to navigate that, honestly, one day at a time. Really, there's no
mhm,
really, there's no real set
mhm,
um, syllabus for us as black men with a focus on black men.
mhm,
What I'm saying? But there was no real um booklet or any kind of, set of instructions or whatever to, for everyone. It's based on, it's really based on the situation. So, but for me,
mhm,
I've been therapy has helped me tremendously.
mhm,
I started back in 2005, I believe.
mhm,
And at first it was couples counseling.
mhm,
And once I got into therapy, because at first, let me back up a little bit. I
mhm,
didn't believe in therapy at all in the
mhm,
beginning. I was like every other person around me, every other black man, black woman around me. Like they didn't believe in it. They were like, "Man, that's white folk stuff. That don't help nobody. You just gotta pray it away. You gotta let God handle it and all this other stuff or whatever."
mhm,
So I was very reluctant to um, do it initially.
mhm,
And my significant other at the time, she insisted on us going. Like that
mhm,
was one of the things that, how we do when you in a relationships, when it getting close to the end, whatever, we
mhm,
gotta go see couples therapy and
mhm,
all sort of stuff. So, we have been arguing a lot more than we had previously been arguing and stuff like that. So I said, you know what? Let me be a team player and do it. And and let me say this, black men too, because I know for the majority sake it'd be us that
mhm,
says don't do therapy for that woman. Do it because you want to do it.
mhm,
Don't do it because you're like, well, she told me to do it, so I'm trying to listen, and I'm trying. If you don't come in with the right mentality, then it's not gonna work for you. Therapy does not work for anybody that it does not, you don't want it to work for. You know what I
mhm.
mean? So if you go in thinking, this is BS, and I really don't believe in it, then it's not gonna work for you, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm a testament to that because I initially that's how I went in. I went in, man, I'm just doing it for her, man. And once I got in there and realized that it was a safe space, it
Mhm,
was a place that I could actually speak about things that I have never previously spoken to anybody about,
mhm,
let alone a stranger. And I realized that that was an avenue for me um to that was my outlet, really. You know what I
mhm,
mean? That was an outlet for me that where I previously didn't think I had. So therapy definitely has been my saving grace in a lot of in a lot of ways. And
Mhm.
I'm very appreciative of it. And I make sure that anybody that wants to hear it, I therapy, therapy, therapy. You know what I mean? Like go in there and just like with any other muscle,
Mhm.
and any other body part that needs training, your brain needs training too. Your brain needs healing as well.
Mhm.
And I just don't understand where the stigma came in, where we felt like if we need to have a mental um checkup, then all of a sudden you're something's wrong with you and stuff like, and that's not the case.
Yeah. But I think sometimes it came to I've seen is like people don't want labels. Like they don't want to be labeled as being crazy or something like that. And so
Mhm.
sometimes I think that is what has kept us away from going to therapy. Like I'm not crazy, there's nothing wrong with me, or or even generations past, they didn't want to deal with anything. Like it's just, whatever goes on in this house stays in this house type of thing.
Well, yeah, I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Maybe back in the day when our parents and our
Hmm.
parents were, maybe that was something that prevented them from, I don't know, getting a job or something like that. But that's not the case anymore. Like the era that we live in now, it doesn't, it's not a death sentence for you to tell somebody that I see, I have therapy and I take therapy and have therapy sessions and things of that nature. So, well, I understand
Hmm.
that being the case, like again, when in
Hmm.
my mother's day and my grandmother's day, that I don't think I think that's an excuse that we just, most of us just harp on at this
Hmm.
point because now with the advent of social media and people speaking out and people of influence speaking out,
Hmm.
it just shows you like, hey, I'm not alone. And there's been many a times where I've spoken about it
Hmm.
on social media, and people would DM me and say, "Bro, thank you, man, for speaking on this because for years I was always afraid to seek therapy, but because of what people thought of me, and just knowing that somebody like you
Hmm.
is an advocate for mental health, then that just it makes it all better, man. So they're very appreciative, and when you do it, you don't think about I'm out here helping people and stuff like that. I'm not really changing any lives with them. I just said it because I felt like it needed to be said. And if I could help somebody, then all the better. But
Hmm.
I would not here to be an advocate or an activist or anything like that. It was more so like, listen, if you do need therapy,
Hmm.
then it's okay, and just take it from somebody who has been in therapy for the better part of 20 years.
Hmm.
It's it does it's benefited me greatly.
Hmm.
Benefited me greatly.
Hmm. So, for men, being vulnerable is really hard. Was there a moment in your life would you realize that vulnerability was actually a strength? And I know it being an R&B, artist and everything, I know you can possibly use that in your music, but how has it shaped your relationships or your career being vulnerable?
Sure, sure. Um, I don't know yet if I still look at vulnerability as a it's a positive. It can
Hmm.
be positive, but I don't look at it as a strength yet. If that
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, it I have definitely grown into my vulnerability,
Hmm.
and meaning that I'm willing to admit when I am vulnerable. And
Hmm.
I think the I think my greatest example of vulnerability was when I put that solo album out in 2008, because that was about me being in a relationship. That whole album was about me being in a relationship with my significant, the same one that I
Hmm.
went to the therapy with in
Hmm.
2005. So yeah, she did a number on me. But yeah, I wrote a whole album about it. But the whole premise of was just about relationships and my relationship with her.
Hmm.
And I tried to generalize it as much as I could, but the overall
Hmm.
tenet of the tenor rather of the album was my relationship with her.
Hmm.
And I I wasn't able to get across what I needed to get across initially until
Hmm.
I had a conversation with someone and they said, you're gonna have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
If you're hurting, you're gonna have to say I'm hurting. If you're happy about something, you're gonna have to say I'm happy about something, man. And once I realized that that was how I was gonna have to make this album, then it was easier for me to, put the album together. But that was a very vulnerable time for me,
Mm.
uh, because I just had to let it go. You know,
Yeah.
I've been, I've been like the man of the house, of my family for as long as I can remember,
Mm.
and it was always about um, just being strong and for the family and not crying and being a man, whatever that meant at the time. It was a lot of machismo. It was a whole lot of masculine energy that I was really ill-equipped to even deal with at the time.
Mm.
So yeah, I was dealing with all of that. So to become vulnerable,
Mm.
that was like really challenging for me. But eventually I let go. Eventually I said, you know what? Either I'm going to do this album and I'm going to be vulnerable about it, or don't do it at all. And I just let go. And I was better for it in that sense because I was able to tap into other emotions that I thought I had gotten rid of years ago.
Mm. That's great. I'm still looking for that album. But like I said, I found it in Japan.
I'm still looking for it for you too, because I have someone that has used to have a download of it. Used to
Mm.
have, yeah, a link for it. So
Yeah,
I'm looking. She's supposed to be looking for it. So we'll see if we can find it.
I got you. And but some of the songs are on YouTube, just so you know. But so if you could change one stereotype about men and mental health, what would it be? We kind of answered that, but yeah.
One stereotype, that we're not robots.
Mm.
That we're incapable of feeling. We are very capable of feeling. So like God gave us tear ducts like everybody else.
Mm.
And our thing is, in our world, if you're seen as sensitive, then you're seen as soft and you're seen as weak, and it's a sign of weakness, and you're just people just look at you unfavorably.
Mm.
So as a man growing up, as a little boy growing up, my parents was, well, my mother and my grandmother were like, don't cry. You got to be a man. Men don't cry. You got to suck it up. You got to be tough. Nobody wants to be around a crybaby all the time. And not that I was walking
Yeah.
around crying all the damn time, but
Yeah.
I want to paint that picture. But it
Yeah.
was, as me and my brother and I,
Mm.
we felt like it was wrong for us to show emotion other than like anger,
Mm.
and that stunts your growth as a person. It stunts your growth.
Mm.
And you have a lot of men growing up thinking that it's wrong or it's not right for you to show emotion. Um, and we end up becoming these emotionless freaking monsters and stuff when you get older, and it's like it's unhealthy because all it does is create this cycle. So now you're having kids and you're telling them the same thing, and it's cyclical, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And so one of the reasons why I speak on mental health and men being able to be vocal about their emotions and things of that nature is so we can get rid of that stigma that men can't be emotional
Mm.
and men can't show their sides or whatever. And a lot of times when we do that,
Mm.
our significant other or women, they frown upon it and say, oh, he a pussy, or he this, he that. And it's almost like you're in a lose-lose situation, because if you're in a relationship,
Mm.
most times that I've heard, most women want you to be you. They want you to feel the kind of emotion they feel, but then when
Mm.
you feel it, oh, you a pussy.
Mm.
So I'm like, which one is it? Like, I can't, we can't win, man. It's like you feel like you're in a lose-lose situation when it comes to that. If I'm too emotional, then I'm not strong enough. But if I'm not emotional, then I can't tap into what it is she wants me to tap into, and we're not connecting, and now the relationship is going south and all this other stuff, man. So it's like it's a lose-lose, man. It's like being a Falcon fan. You know what I mean? Like you just keep losing, and you just it don't matter because you ain't going nowhere. But it's just you keep losing.
Yeah. So my last two questions about therapy, you actually answered those questions.
Hmm.
So we can jump over to relationships. And the reason why I wanted to ask you relationship questions was because as I was doing my research on you, I
Hmm.
saw that back in 2013, you actually had a relationship column when you were actually giving out relationship advice.
I did. I did.
Mhm.
I did.
So I wanted to get some ask you some relationship questions because even recently I did a research with my following and I asked them questions about what does men do after a breakup, and the response that I got for the most part was from men, and now
Uh-huh.
this was from men that they were basically they were already have another woman for the most part, or they'll go to the next one unless they wanted to, um, unless the relationship was bad, and then they would relax or whatever. And then from that, my women followers, they were getting in contact with me and they wanted to know more information. So I came to the source, Mr.
Okay.
Mike Keith, and I wanted to ask you some relationship questions so you can help us all out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in your experience, what do you think is the most important ingredient for a healthy relationship and a lasting connection?
Communication and being absolutely honest with each other. And I know that that sounds like an easy answer, but the truth of the matter is, nobody really wants to, in my
Mhm.
history, in my experience, nobody really wants to hear the truth. You know, because I've heard so many times in relationships, well, just tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. I tell you the truth,
Mhm.
and I get vilified for it. I get cussed out for it, or it just the whole conversation goes left because it's not the truth that she wanted to hear. You know, she wanted to hear, oh no, baby, everything is okay. It's me, it's not you, is
Mhm.
we're gonna figure this thing out. You know, you're right, I'm wrong. How can we move forward? Like guide us, but I know you want me to lead, but I need you to guide. It's like it's this crazy concept that a lot of people have, and, both male and female.
Mhm.
The man wants the woman to be, to have a job, but be dependent on him, come
Mhm.
home and cook, raise these kids, and don't be tired, from coming home doing a whole 9 to 5. And then on the flip side, the woman wants the man to be 6'9" and a great credit score and all this teeth and they got to be straight and all this other. So it's just these standards that we set for ourselves, and I won't say they're ridiculous standard because you like what you like, but at the same time, it seems to me that there is no room for compromise in a lot of relationships and stuff. So, but I'm getting away from the question. The question was like, I feel communication
Mhm.
off the rip,
Mhm.
like this is what it is. And ladies, I'm a focus on you for a minute because I've noticed this in relationships, not all, but some.
Mhm.
We'll start here, male, female.
Mhm.
And as the relationship, like we're dating, we're just having fun, we're kicking it. It's no titles, no nothing. The man will be somewhere still here.
Mhm.
But in that woman's mind, they done moved all the way up here somewhere, picking
Mhm.
out wedding dresses and drapes and stuff for the house or whatever that you ain't even been in yet. You know what I mean? And it's like we have to be realistic, and listen to each other. If that man tells you that we're not in a relationship, however y'all are doing relationship things, in his mind, trust me when I tell you, y'all are not in a relationship. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Y'all are doing relationship things because that man don't want to hear your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that you have to understand that if that man tells you I'm tired, it's not because I'm tired because I just went out screwing the entire night before. No,
Mhm.
he's tired. You know what I mean? If a man tells you that he's hungry, it's not well, I didn't eat all day long. No, I'm just not hungry right. I'm hungry right now, but
Mhm.
I did eat something earlier today. Oh, well, who do you eat with? And all this, it's all of that crazy stuff, man. So we just have to really communicate with each other and be honest with being honest with being honest. You know what I mean? Like we have to be honest with ourselves. Can I take this truth that this man or woman is giving me?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't, then just know that. Just know that, hey, listen, I thought I wanted the truth. I don't think I'm ready for it. Let me process this before we move forward with this. Let's put a pin in this and move on to something else with it. But don't don't kid yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
only you can answer this shit, for yourself. Don't kid yourself. If you're not prepared for the truth, then it might be in your best interest not to ask for the truth at that moment. A lot of us say we want the truth, but then when that truth hit, that thing hits like a sledgehammer, and then you're over there like, well, damn, I did
Mm-hmm.
tell this man I wanted the truth. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. Remember, I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but when we was kids,
Mm-hmm.
my mother used to always tell us, now if you tell me the truth, you won't get in trouble.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you tell them the truth, and then she still class. It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of like it's a lose-lose situation because it's like
Yeah.
you're trying to teach me that telling the truth is the way that so I ended up telling you the truth, but I still got punished for it. So it's like what incentive,
Yeah.
does a man have to be in a
Mhm.
relationship and being honest with this woman? It just easier for him to be like, nah, babe, you fine. It's me. It ain't nothing going on. I'm good. You know what I mean? Or it's most men that they'll tell you, I'm okay. Nine
Yeah.
times out of 10, that man is not okay.
Yeah.
But he knows that if he delves deeper into it, it's going to
Mhm.
be this whole conversation that he might not even want to have, or it may turn into an argument, or whatever the case may be. But it's just something that we got to be tuned in with when it comes to your relationship. If the man tells you he's okay, more than likely he's not okay, but he probably doesn't want to talk about it either.
Okay.
So, it's about listening. It's about listening to each other.
Mhm. So if two people come into a relationship with emotional baggage, how can they work on healing together without making things worse? Or is there a way?
Well, first and foremost, you gotta understand that everybody's gonna come with baggage at this point in the game. Just in in my estimation, you're gonna
Mhm.
come in with some kind of quote unquote baggage in your life, whatever. So the thing is, trying to minimize as much of that as you possibly can. And
Mhm.
again, it goes back to my initial answer
Mhm.
about communicating and being honest with each other. Hey, I have certain hangups. This is one of them.
Mhm.
So if we can, we need to avoid A, B, C. I like when you do this, but I don't like when you do that.
Mhm.
Being honest with each other, because because that's one of the things that in the previous relationship we had an issue with. So
Mhm.
it's just about communication, but it is possible. It is possible um to address the situation without it turning violent or being argumentative. But again, it's about being honest with yourself and being honest with that person that you're trying to be in a relationship with. Just let them know, like, listen, these are some of my hangups. This is some of my dirty laundry, and you're
Mhm.
gonna, it's up to that person. What I've learned in relationships when it comes to women, as long as you tell them what it truly is and give them the option to say yes, I want to stay with this, or no. When
Mhm.
you take that away from them, that thing that's what really makes a situation worse, and makes it to where a woman wants to leave the situation or wants to continue arguing, whatever, because you took away her ability to choose
Mhm.
whether or not she wanted to stay in it by lying to her or not being completely honest with what the situation was, whatever. So I make it a point now that, like, I know that the whole thing the last couple of years has been I live in the era of transparency and stuff, but I actually do feel like truth is the
Mhm.
uh, is the better option. Just go ahead and tell the truth, man.
Mhm.
Just go ahead and tell the truth, and if she leaves or if he leaves, then that person wasn't meant for you.
Yeah. So, from a man's perspective, what can a woman do to help their partner feel safe enough to be vulnerable and open up about their feelings or emotions? You kind of talked about it a little bit before,
Mhm.
but
Um,
what? Mhm.
yeah, sorry to cut you off, but
Okay.
yeah, it really boils down to communication and just letting that man know, because we're men are some of the most sensitive and vulnerable people on planet Earth, but we put on this facade that we're always tough and nothing really bothers us and stuff when we're just as emotional as women are. We can't show it often, but we're just as emotional. Um, so I would say to create that space for a man to feel like he can communicate, it unfortunately it has to come from the woman first. It has to come from her first. She has to create an environment where, hey, listen, black man, it's okay if you want to be emotional about X, Y, and Z. Talk to me. Let me. And here's the thing: you can't ask that man to do that, and then when y'all get into an argument, use that against him later on somewhere down the line. You will lose a man as quick as as you can as you can imagine, because our whole thing is about trust. We trusted you with these emotions. We trusted you with these intimate feelings that we have, and then you turn around because you're upset and use those things against me. You're gonna lose a man every time. You're gonna lose him every time. So I would say if you're going to be the caretaker of that man's heart, then really take care of that man's heart, even when you guys are upset. Even when you're mad, even when you're mad at him, particularly, you have to still know in the back of your mind, this man is counting on me to hold his heart and make sure that I don't abuse it any more than it already has been. So like women have the power a lot, in relationships. So they just, once a man opens up to you like that, he's very vulnerable. And she can use that for good or she can use it for evil. So, it's just, I hate to put it on women like that, but really it's up to y'all, how you want that man to, react and with regards to you, because you hold the keys to that man's heart. And if you abuse that, like I promise you, if anybody that's listening, I promise you, females, women, listen to me. If you take what that man said on some vulnerable shit and use that against him in an argument somewhere down the line, you will lose that man. Like he is done. He will never tell you anything else. He will never. If a man was open with you at one point, and you did that, and now all he says is, "Okay, cool, yep, nope, mm-hmm." Sound like, look, yeah, maybe. If he hits you with all of that, those one word answers and shit, I think you've lost that man, or you're close to losing that man. So just be mindful of that. Your words have power, your actions have even more power. Don't abuse that man's heart.
Cool. Words to live by.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So
Mm-hmm.
if someone has been hurt in the past, how can they learn to trust again?
Oh, that's a great question. Now it's going to take time. It's going to take because that person is going to want to trust again. You know, and that's easier said than done. Like we always say, yeah, yeah, I want love, but do you really want everything that comes along with love? Because love means that you have to open up yourself so much that you may get hurt, and trust does the same thing. Like I initially, it's like when we were at school, and when you start out in the beginning of school, everybody got an A. And as the year goes on, whatever, depending on how well you do in that class or in school, whatever, you can maintain that A, or it can increasingly, get lower and lower, whatever. So that's pretty much how it is in when it comes to certain aspects of relationships. You can maintain that, or as time goes on, it can, just fade and stuff, man. So it's that's a real, but trust, for me, trust, I always start everybody out here.
Mhm.
You always, when I meet you, when I interact with you, my trust level with you is here because you haven't shown me anything not to trust you. I still have in the back of my mind, like I still don't know this person, whatever, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's a better way of saying it. And as time goes on and as we experience each other and all this other stuff, then I can see, okay, well, they're maintaining that level of trust for me, or I'm starting to see who this person truly is. I'm not seeing the representative no more. I'm actually seeing this person. And that's where, that's where I can gauge where my trust level for you is. But I really, it's real simple for me. Either I trust you or I don't. But there's varying degrees of how much I trust you. Like, can I trust you to to not put anything in my drink, yeah, versus do I trust somebody with my, my car, you know what I mean, or with my kids, whatever. So it's varying levels of trust, but yeah, either I trust you or I don't. So simple as that. So,
Okay, so relationships can change over time, which we know.
mm,
What advice would you give to couples who feel like they're growing apart or struggling to evolve together?
mm. It sounds like there is a uh, a disagreement in philosophies at that point,
Mhm.
the way that the relationship should move.
Yeah.
And if you're not, and I'm not saying that you have to be in line step with, your significant other every day, but
Mhm.
you guys, as far as the goal is concerned, you
Mhm.
have to be on the same page with that, and if that's not the case, then it's time to sit down and say, hey, what are some of the things that we can do? Me personally, what are some things that I can do? But the significant other says the same thing. What are some of the things that I can do to well, let's back up a little bit. We have to find out if the relationship is something that the two people want to do in the first place.
Mhm.
And that's where being honest is involved. And a lot of people, they don't want to be honest because they are invested. They live in a house together, or they got kids together, or they have certain business investments that they've done together and things of that nature. So it's difficult for that person, to just up and leave. However, if your goal is to emotionally be better off, then and for a fact that it's better without being with said person, then you have to, number one, you have to figure out whether or not that's the optimal goal for you. But then how do you navigate through that? And that's the difficult part. And unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that part of it. But I will say, um, find out if this is something that both of you guys mutually want to have happen,
Yeah.
because it won't work if somebody is in it more than the other person. If somebody wants this to work and somebody kind of sort of wants it to work, it's not going to work. You
Yeah.
have to be at least you have to be on the same page when it comes to whether or not this is something that you guys both want to do. So find out that first and then communicate with each other. Hey, what are some of the things that you don't like that I'm doing that you feel like I should improve upon with regards to building this relationship back to where we needed to be, and then vice versa. And then, try it and go from there. And if it doesn't work, try it again. If it doesn't work at that point, then you should think about, you know, making a change.
Yeah. Awesome. So you basically answered my last question. It was like sometimes love isn't enough to save a relationship. How can
Mhm.
someone know when it's time to walk away? So you basically,
Yeah, when you've done everything that you possibly could, but you have to know that this is something that you and your significant other have to know that we've done everything that we possibly could. Like again, it goes back to, one person feeling like they've done X, Y, and Z, and then you didn't do enough in their eyes with them. Like you have to be of one accord when it comes to trying to salvage said
yeah,
relationship. And if you're not on that same page, then relationship's already done anyway.
yeah,
So but yeah, it's if do do everything that you think you guys both think that you come to agreement with. If it's counseling, do that. If it's going out on a date with each other, it's doing that. If it's like right before we go to sleep, let's take a couple of, let's take some time to talk to each other. Just talk to each other. If it's that, if it's being more intimate with each other, if it's that, then just do some of these things and do it with a generous heart, and do it because you want to do it, not because my significant other wants me to do it. Oh, this girl wants me to do this shit and I don't want to do it. If you do that, then the relationship's already done. And I can attest that because I've actually said that before.
yeah,
I was doing it strictly for her and told her that and told the therapist that. And therapist told me, it's like, man, well, you might well not be in a relationship because you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Because what's going to happen is she's going to do something to upset you, and in your mind you're gonna be like, when I did all this for her,
yeah,
and when it should have been I was doing this for us,
yeah,
and it's all bad, man. So, but I am very guilty of that. That's why I can speak on it, because I've actually said,
yeah,
that before. Like, I'm in this relationship because, or we got engaged because of, this is what I know, this is what you wanted.
mhm,
And I'm doing therapy because I know couples therapy because I know this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
And it never turned out right for me. So I will uh warn everybody about that. Just please, if you're gonna be in a relationship, be in a relationship. Like don't just say you're in a relationship. Be active, be in that relationship. Everything is not gonna always be the way that y'all want it to be, and that's fine. Relationships don't work like that.
Yeah.
But when it does, something does go left, it shouldn't be the apocalypse every time that something doesn't go the way that you want it to. Just, hey, I'm feeling away today. Let's put a pin in this and we can talk about it some other time. And hopefully your significant other is willing to capitulate and say, hey, you know what? Let's step back. We'll talk about this later. I can tell that it's getting heated or whatever. And you've just shown respect, you've shown maturity, and and a person should feel appreciative and appreciate the fact that you are considering their feelings. So, that's something that I've learned as well. So,
Yeah. So that was actually all my questions. But before I let you go and everything, once again, I want to tell you thank you. And the thing about it is, I know they always say, don't meet your heroes and things like that, but you have denied, like, basically, that was a lie, basically, concerning you. I've been
I
following
appreciate
you, been a fan since the first 112, CD.
it. Okay.
112 was the first CD I bought with my own money, okay?
I
So
know that's right.
okay. So
Appreciate it.
my
Thank you.
little after school job, and I've been a fan ever since, and I know it's coming up to your 30 years soon. Uh,
Hmm.
and I will tell you your song. Now you already know you're the only one. That is my
Hmm.
ringtone. That okay?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that is
I
my
love that
ring.
song too. I love that too. Yeah.
And
So yeah.
but I will be there from the first 112 album. That has
Hmm.
me all these years. Every time I went through something up until this day, like even recently, I've had my own issues going on,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that song has carried me. So I wanted to thank you for that and everything. And I know sometimes, being a part of a group, sometimes your voice, I don't know how it can get lost because your voice is so okay. I love your,
Hmm.
you know.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But sometimes, you don't really probably get your flowers or everything. And throughout all these years, who knows what you've had to go through to continue the
Hmm.
112 brand and everything. So I wanted to let you know that you are seen, you are valued, and you are very much appreciated. So
I appreciate it. I thank you so much. And this has been awesome for me as well. Like I don't even really do interviews like that anymore, but I know it was something about your energy. It was just like, you know what, this is a genuine moment and I don't mind doing genuine things for genuine people. So, this I enjoyed it. And the questions were listen, we you can't imagine the kind of questions we get nowadays. So
yeah,
it's just or maybe you can, but
yeah,
yeah, it feels good to know that there are some genuine people out there that really want to know what's going on and not just what's going on. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I appreciate that.
No problem at all. So I know we didn't talk about 112 at all, and that was on purpose because I know there's more to you than 112. And I love you.
Mm,
So at the end of the day, I did my research on you. I know that you like talking about mental health issues and as well as relationships. So
yep,
that's why
absolutely,
we
absolutely.
did not talk about 112 at all.
Thank you.
But
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
no problem at all. But do you have anything that you guys have coming up or anything that you
Other than touring, which you can find on our Instagram page, the official 112.
Mhm.
You can get the dates for that. Myself personally, this is the year that I am. My goal is to start advocating again for the Lupus
Mhm.
Foundation. For those that don't know, my mother has lupus,
Mhm.
and for years I had been advocating for her, and kind of got disenfranchised from it because the monies that were being donated weren't going directly to the people. It was, in my opinion, it was going to the man, and I was just like, yo, I can't be a part of this
Mhm.
because here it is. My mother needs, help right now. And these people are not allocating the money, in my opinion, where they need to be. So I kind of got disenfranchised from it. And that was a little naivete on my end, not knowing how the business aspect of it worked as far as that goes. But now that I do realize and I do know a little bit more, I'm able to, navigate that a little better.
Mhm.
And it's really not about it is about trying to find a cure, but
Mhm.
it's more about bringing awareness to lupus and all the nuances that goes along with, so we can create more avenues and get more money donated. So
Mhm.
the eventuality of it is that we will find a cure
Mhm.
for it. But so that's the goal now, man. So that's where my head is now. Outside of
Mhm.
the touring, of course, 112 is always going 112. We're gonna
Mhm.
always gonna tour and things of that nature. But like it's more philanthropic and more
Mhm.
um advocating, for the causes that I believe in, and that's definitely one of the main causes that I believe in. And I got a lot of them, but I just want to focus on one because I can get scatterbrained and
Mhm.
and ain't nobody coming in to nobody. So but that's near and dear to my heart, because it's my mother, and I want to make sure that, she understands that, she is somebody that, for one,
Mhm.
most lupus survivors don't want you to feel sorry for them. So I don't feel sorry for my mother, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure that she lives as happily and as healthy as she possibly can.
Mhm.
And I hope she lives another 100 years. You know what I mean? So that's the type of energy that we're doing for 2025. And like I've been reaching out to a lot of people, and they're just waiting on me to give the green light on a lot of the things. And once that happens, then I'm going full throttle with advocating again for the Lupus Foundation and just lupus just lupus technology. I mean, well, not what's the word? I just lost it.
Mhm.
Um, Jesus, I just lost it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but research, lupus research,
Mhm.
and that's where I am right now. So
Mhm.
we'll see what happens.
And when you get more information or whatever you need anything from me, I will definitely, pass it on and do whatever I can do on my end as well
Yes,
for you.
ma'am. It's much appreciated. Absolutely.
So if there's, did you have anything else that you want to say or share? Or
No, that's pretty much it. I will say that Instagram been hating on me
yeah, because I
because
you're a dog.
I had a page, and
Mhm.
I have been trying to campaign to get my page back, but it's been about a year and some change now, man. So a lot of people ask me, am I going to do another page? And my response has always has been the same. It's like, why would I do it only for me to do the same thing and get suspended again?
Yeah,
So, so
yeah.
yeah, I'm not changing. I'm not going to change what I do. The 112 page is the 112 page, but my page was a little bit more, devious. And, but it was funny. It was, I'm a real funny dude, man. Like I really enjoy laughing and making other people laugh and stuff. And, people swear on everything. I was supposed to be a comedian, but
Hmm.
I love singing more. But yeah, man, I'm trying to advocate to get my page back on Instagram. So if they feel kindly enough and to let me back on or whatever, and I can have my 108,000 fans and followers and whatnot and my blue check, then yeah, that'll be good. But if not, it's fine. The 112 page is enough for me. But I will I will campaign for that. Bring back Michael's page. So I
About
can
adding
just
some of that stuff over to TikTok, or no, you just no.
I, I don't want to get suspended again. Like those people, I will say they warned me. They warned me so many times, and I just ignored the warnings and
Yeah,
whatnot. And they were just like, what, we got to, and so they suspended me indefinitely. So you
yeah.
know, give us free. You know what I mean? You gotta let me out, man. You gotta let all this. You got all this comedy, all this material, and you just letting it go to waste. So let me back out, man. Free Princey.
Yeah.
But but yeah, that's all I got though.
Okay. I got you. So once again, thank you so much. And I pray that you have a great night and everything. And thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Peace and blessing.
Thanks.
Thank you.